Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. This is Hugo Quintanilla here with another live. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. This is your live 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes sometimes, for you to learn about real estate and how it can benefit you and those around you. My name is Hugo Quintanilla. I am a licensed realtor in Maryland with Long Foster, North Potomac, Rockville. And today we are going to be talking about credit empowerment, 10 proven strategies to boost your score for the dream home journey. If you have any questions, please feel free and leave them on your platform of choice. But let's jump into it. So, number one, check your credit score. Obtain a credit report copy, either from a major credit bureau like Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion, and review it for errors and disputes and any inaccuracies. You would be surprised how much is wrong on some of these reports. So make sure that you're actually taking the time to review your report at least once a year. You're admitted a copy for free by one of these bureaus. So make sure and take advantage of that. Check out myfreecreditreport.com and just Google my free credit report and see a reputable site that will produce a report. I personally like TransUnion. We use them a lot with a company called Red Spree. That's a massive screener for tenants. So it's a really good indicator of credit score and what you need to work on. For the most part, all the bureaus will have generally the same information, but please confer and compare because you could have some discrepancies on one report versus another report. Number two, pay your bills on time. Consistently pay all your bills on time, including credit cards, loans, utility bills, everything. Late payments can negatively impact your score, and one late payment can really destroy your credit score. So please take your time, and before you think about spending that money on that credit card, try to save, try to work out a budget, try to buy that item in cash. Do not credit your life away. Don't get into debt that you don't need to get into, because it's very easy to get one payment behind and then really get into financial ruin after that. So be careful out there and pay your bills on time. Reduce credit card balances. That's number three. Aim to lower your credit card balances. High credit card utilization can negatively affect your credit score. Strive to keep your balances below 30% of your credit limit. I would even say keep it at 25. I was talking to somebody today for financial planning, and they were telling me that 25% is probably the best way to go if you are trying to either buy a house or get into home ownership in the next 2 years. That will let you save about 8% on the 30 to 33% that you need to spend on a normal living. Usually the most that you could spend on a property is about 30%. So say you spend 25% and then you have 5% left over for your savings. You can keep that savings to build up a down payment and really grow into homeownership safely over time. It is possible. It's just a matter of planning financially how to position yourself to qualify for these loans to be able to go out there and buy these properties. Number four, avoid opening new credit applications. Opening multiple new credit accounts in a short period can lower your credit score. Limit new credit applications, especially before applying for a mortgage. Crucial. Look at that last one. Limit new credit applications, especially before applying for a mortgage. Now, are we talking about? I would say safely 60 days. Some people say at least 30, but I would say more time the better. So give it at least 60 days before you apply for a mortgage after applying for a credit card. So think about these things. Think about the future and think about where you're going to be, because when you take these steps to make these applications, it goes on your report as a hard pull. Now, if it's a credit pull that distinctly says, it's a soft pull and will not affect your credit, then you're in a different position. But if it says nothing like that, then 9 times out of 10, it's probably a hard pull and will affect your credit. Become an authorized user. Number five. This is a really creative one and something that's very useful for younger people, especially if you're trying to get them on the correct path to financial freedom. If someone you trust has a positive credit history, consider becoming an authorized user on their credit card. This can positively impact your credit score. I'm not saying give them a card. I'm not saying let them buy anything on it. I'm saying get them involved, get them an application, get them on the card. If it's a person that's younger and they are coming onto a parent's account, for example, they will acquire all the history, decades worth of credit card history potentially that the parent might have at their disposal, at their name, under that card, under that new user. So it could take a person that's maybe 18 years old from a 600 credit score to very close to an 800 credit score overnight. It's not as extreme as that, but it can drastically help to better the credit utilization as well as the history of their credit. And that's what they look at in a mortgage application. Now, of course, you got to have a good stable income, but if you're on a couple of authorized account users, it's just as good as being the actual account holder. So keep that in mind. Number six, create a budget. This one is one of the most difficult ones, but this one will be life changing. Develop a budget to manage your finances effectively. This will help you prioritize debt repayment and ensure you have funds to cover all expenses. Tackle debt like it's the plague. It really will hinder you from moving forward with your life and developing the type of life that you want to live. We are all entitled to own a home. Some of us are more responsible than others, and the choices that we make in our past will determine whether or not we will own a home in the future. It is really that simple. You have to work at it. It is not for everyone, but everyone has the ability to do it. It's just you got to know how and you got to rise to the occasion, because really it's just like driving. It's a privilege to own a home, not a right. Settle outstanding debts. Work on settling any outstanding debts, especially collections or charge offs. Negotiate with creditors to establish payment plans or settle for a lower amount. It is imperative that you check your credit report every year for stuff like this, inaccuracies, and making sure that your debts are being paid for correctly. I've met people that have paid debts that were not theirs. So make sure that if you have any outstanding debts, they are yours and that you're tackling them. Work out payment plans, work out repayments, work out a schedule to tackle this, and really tackle it, because it will stop a lot of your progress in the future and potentially even your retirement. And that, more than anything else, is the new game that us millennials will be facing into the future, is where will our retirement come from? Because we can't honestly work forever. So we're going to have to develop either more creative ways to sustain ourselves. And that's really the long and the short of it, is how are we going to retire if said social security one day fails? So, you know, you got to look for always more options when possible. Diversify your credit mix. Having a mix of credit types, credit cards, installment loans, etc., can positively impact your credit score. However, only open new credit accounts when necessary. And don't do it in a pinch. It's really easy to make bad decisions that way. You should do it in a good fashion. Maybe open up a card every 1 year, every 2 years, maybe every 18 months. As you see a good promotion that comes on, maybe do it over time. There's no need for you to go out tomorrow and get 12 credit cards, because it's just going to look ridiculous on your credit report. So, and you can seriously harm your credit report. Each one of those will ding your credit report down. So by the time you've already applied for the third one, it's probably just going to be trash. You'll have a whole bunch of credits, but getting it to a point where it's, you know, outstanding like it was before is going to be a little different at that point. But seek professional credit counseling. If needed, consult with a credit counseling agency for personalized advice on improving your credit. They can provide guidance on managing debts and budgeting. You would do it with a house, you would use a realtor. With therapy, you would use a therapist. With a ailment, you would use a doctor. You would use a professional for so many other things. I know it's embarrassing. I know it's very painful. I know it's very hard to talk about sometimes the choices that we made in our past and why certain things have left us in the position financially that have left us. It is very easy to put money and your own identity into the same basket. We're all human, but seek some help. I don't want to make it into a Michael Jordan meme, but you need to consult someone. Sometimes it does take you talking with a third party and having the third party hold you accountable to make a difference in why or why not you do something. Really, you just need someone to share that space with and help you get through this credit problem because it's not easy, it's very difficult. So, number 10, be patient and consistent. Improve your credit score is a gradual process. Stay patient, be consistent in your efforts, and monitor your progress regularly. It's really easy to get discouraged, especially when you see this big mountain of debt and you don't know what to do sometimes. You got bills to pay, you got, mouths to feed, you got stuff to do, and there's nothing really you can do sometimes. But that's why, more than anything else, I tell you, look at your credit and think about your credit decisions when you're going to spend on those cards because it can come back and bite you. So think about these payments. Don't spend someone else's money. It's always better to have your own savings and have the cards as an extension of what the bank already knows that you are good with money. That's really the long and the short of having a good credit score is by the end of it, you will have a 700 credit score. Yeah, but you'll also be really good with money. And that's really how it happens. You can't fake a good credit score. You have to actually have those habits in place. And what are those habits? Saving, working consistently, reporting your taxes consistently, and growing because no lender will lend to someone that they see stagnant. They'll lend to someone that they see an upward mobility on. So think about that next time that you have an application for a credit card at like Sears. Well, Sears is not around no more. That dates myself. Like Best Buy or like all these like commercial places. Be careful with those. Those don't build up your credit. The type of credit cards that you want are cards that are going to be at banks, at major banks, major facilities like Discovery, Chase, City, American Express. But be careful. American Express is a charge card. It's not a credit card. All the other ones are credit cards, and you can look into those. They all have their pros and cons. The long and the short of it, though, is that you want to pay these payments and stay consistent. Credit will by far impact your loan the most. So, if you have any questions, definitely let me know. Take in. Oh, appreciate you, Happy. Great to see you. And just to recap, since you just tuned in a little bit later, number one was check your credit report. Number two was pay your bills on time. Number three was reduce credit card balances. Number four was avoid opening new credit accounts. Number five was become an authorized user on someone else's credit report. And number six is create a budget. Number seven is settle outstanding debts. Number eight is diversify your credit mix. Number nine is seek professional credit counseling. And number 10 is be patient and consistent. Remember, improving your credit score takes time and commitment. These steps, when followed consistently, can contribute to a healthier credit profile, increasing your chances of securing a favorable loan and also an overall better profile. So it's financial peace. And I can tell you from meeting some of the other vendors at some of these events like Happy, the financial freedom that you get as being your own owner of a business and being able to set your own hours, it's very liberating to just be able to be your own owner and to be able to be your own boss. It's the freest thing in the world. Now imagine that same freedom when you go outside and you don't have to go to work because you don't have any bills. Everything's paid for. You know how great that feels to just like wander around the world and not have to worry about like, hey, where am I gonna have this money come from? You know, and really the real reason why I want you guys to get into real estate more than anything else is that if we do this right, at some point, these properties will pay you money. It might not be the greatest, amount in the world, but if we do this consistently and keep buying properties, you will have a little bit of profit off of each one of these properties. And by the end of it, you will be able to retire very comfortably. And especially for us millennials that are not in a great position to have a retirement plan or not in a great position to save, if we're going to invest on anything, we got to invest in ourselves. And we always need places to live. And the fastest rate of return on any money and consistent has been real estate. You will see at least average 6%. So a bank account, on a high yield savings account, you see 5%. I just checked out Ally yesterday, 4.9%, but on real estate, 6%. So for every $100,000 you're spending inside of a house, you're making at least $6,000 a year. So if you have any more questions, ladies and gentlemen, I am Hugo Quintanilla, your realtor in Maryland, licensed with Long and Foster, North Potomac, Rockville. I can help you out with real estate in Maryland, Virginia, DC, nationwide, and also internationally. So if you have any questions, feel free and let me know. My phone number is 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com, and my website is yourrealtorhugo.com, because I am your realtor Hugo. I appreciate you all. It is great to talk to everyone. If you guys have any questions, please leave them on your platform of choice. Do not forget that we have the repeat on YouTube. We have the live on Facebook. We're on X, LinkedIn, and on Twitch. So if you have any questions, use your platform of choice. Take care. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow for another lesson, and take care. See you.